So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Q&A. I don't actually think you have seen this in the background, so let me show you. Very cool. How cool is that? That is an IAG Media Bang & Olufsen speaker. Yeah, very, very cool company. And I don't know if you guys remember, I actually worked with them back in 2017 when I was still a creative agency. So, yeah, it's very cool. It on Zoom, when I have sales calls and stuff, it just like sits in the background, and probably like most people don't know what it is. Like a lot of people don't realize that that's actually a speaker, one of their big speakers. Yeah, all in all, I just think it looks super, super cool. So with no further ado, let's get straight into this Q&A. Also, I know everyone's going to be asking, because everyone asks me literally 100 times a day, what glasses are those? These are Gadzhi blue light blockers. Wait, one sec. So yes, these are early prototypes. Well, I say actually early prototypes. These are the final prototypes. So this is what the box looks like. I mean, shit, the amount of money that's gone into this thing is nuts. The quality of these things are nuts. Just like everything is just so high end and premium with these. I've kept the prototypes separately and the cloth separately. But yeah, this is what the box looks like. Just all in all, it's a lot of work went into this. And yeah, obviously this has been a fun one for me to wear, because I have 7 of the early prototypes. We're coming out in 5 colorways. And yeah, it's just been nice to wear around. And it's funny because, as I said, I just get so many, I get tons of people, even when I'm wearing Gadzhi, like the clothes, being like, yo, that, those designs are sick. Like, where'd you get that from? And obviously it's the little flex moment of like, oh, it's actually my clothing line. But nothing has compared to the glasses. Like, I've gone stopped on the street annoyingly often with people asking me like, oh, where'd you get those from? And also every single time I've mentioned, I talk to people and like, what's up with work, what's up with the clothing line, and I mentioned, the blue light blockers. Every single person has been like, so funny you mentioned that. Like, I've been meaning to get blue light blockers forever. So yeah, very, very excited. And I know that tons of you guys were gonna ask me like, where'd you get it from? They're Gadzhi. They're launching mid-December. And yeah, it's definitely going to be our biggest launch to date. Like, I've never seen a demand for a product like this in my entire life. So with no further ado, let's actually get into it this time. So question number 1 is, if we do not get results for clients and if a client asks for a refund, in this case, will we reimburse the cost of advertising? How to find local business? Okay, I'm not going to answer the rest of the questions because it's 3 questions in one. I'm going to answer the first one for you. The answer is no, you do not refund the advertising spend. Now, if you want to, lace that into your contract and into your agreement, that's fine. We do a guarantee on our service fee. So once again, it depends on, for InfoPro clients, it's 1.2x. So if we spend 10 grand, we make them at least 12 grand. If we spend 100 grand, we make them at least 120 grand. And that's on InfoPro businesses, because obviously the margin is, there's no cost of goods sold, right? With info-product businesses, with e-commerce businesses, we figure out what their break-even is, and basically we guarantee their break-even. Now, if we get below that, we don't refund their ad spend. Now, as an agency, I think I mentioned this to you, or maybe I haven't since the last Q&A. I actually haven't recorded one in a while. But we, in our entire agency journey, and by the way, I just realized I wheezed right there, so that was a little awkward. I don't know why I wheezed. I don't have asthma or anything, but God damn it, I have to clear my throat. But yeah, in my entire agency journey, it's happened once, which was January, or at that point it would have been February of 2019, which was a luxury swimwear company. And then it actually happened for the second time ever 2 months ago. Basically an InfoPro client that we were starting with them from scratch, everything from the case study funnel build to obviously running the ads. And yeah, we thought we were going to hit it big with that client, and unfortunately we didn't, and I had to end up refunding their service fee. But as I said, in our instance, we don't refund the ad spend. And I don't know, like, unless you are a horrific like, I don't see any of you guys realistically spending 30 grand and making them 10. You know what I mean? Like, I think as an advertiser within a 7-day slope, like, you'll know whether the campaigns are really tanking, and you're not going to just perpetuate that. So it's up to you. But having a guarantee on your service fee is already such a massive thing that I don't think you need to have a guarantee on the ad spend itself as well. So Next question is, what are your thoughts on Apple blocking data tracking, for example, Facebook Pixel on their products like Safari? What it reminds me of is back in 2018, like with the whole GDPR thing. Like, this is my personal opinion, and I'm actually not someone who is a very big I'm not someone who's very delusional or always likes to have positive think. Like, I actually always like to think of worst case scenario, but I've seen it time and time again where people freak out about stuff that you should not freak out about. You know, as I said, I saw with the whole GDPR thing, people were like, oh, advertising is dead. We can never advertise again. It's going to be too much of a nuisance, blah, blah, this, that. And like, what happened? Like, nothing's changed. You know what I mean? So even when Facebook had to remove a bunch of its targeting because of the whole Cambridge Analytica scandal, once again, like, everyone was like, Facebook's dead. Nothing's changed. You know, and it's the same sort of thing with this Apple privacy protection. Do I think this is going to change anything? No, not really. Like, and that's my short and simple answer, because there will always be a way that advertising morphs. Like, this industry is just not going anywhere. You know what I mean? And first of all, like, I do bring up the point of like, who the fuck uses Safari? Like, that is just one point. I get it with mobile devices and stuff like that, but I don't know. Facebook is one of the biggest companies on earth. They will find a workaround, because here's the thing: if Facebook doesn't find a workaround, they are no longer one of the biggest companies on earth, because Facebook's entire business is advertising. So am I concerned about it? No. And as I said, this is not just my logical thinking. It's because I've seen it so many times in the past where people are like, even AI, like, people are like, oh, AI is getting so good, like, advertising is going to die. I'm like, you're literally the biggest dumbass I've ever met, because Facebook is AI. Like these advertising platforms are AI. Like, how do you think they optimize? So they're like, oh, AI is gonna. I'm like, you're just an idiot. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't mean to be crass or rude here, but like, I just think people need to stop worrying. They need to calm down. And if anything ever comes, if it ever comes to where this form of advertising doesn't work, guess what you do? You pivot in the same way that 10 years ago, Google advertising and search ads and banner ads were, for the most part, sort of the best method and best sort of way to go about things. And SEO was super prominent back then in the way that it isn't now. And, if you were an SEO agency back then, or a Google Ads agency, and, you stuck to the sinking ship, you deserve what was coming to you. At the end of the day, us as marketers, our role is to get our clients the best results possible. That doesn't matter whether it's Pinterest ads, whether it's Facebook ads, whether it's SEO, whether it's, and that changes industry to industry, country to country. So, what it works best for my clients doesn't work best for, another niche in another industry, or another part of the world. So yeah, I'm not really worried, and I really wouldn't be worried if I were you either. Next question is, what's your 5 to 10 year plan? Will you always stay in London, UK, or move in the future? I always see London being my home, my base. Like, at the end of the day, to me, London is the best city in the world, and I've been traveling all over. No place kind of has my heart like London does. To me, it's just, I could just go on about, I could go on about it forever. First of all, the weather is nowhere near as bad as people make it out to me. Like, statistically, Paris and Amsterdam has more days of rain than London does. Like, whoever made up this whole, like, London rains all the time BS, like, just, I don't know where it's coming from. Like, London, I can tell you honestly, doesn't rain that much.
That's absolute bollock.
And the weather is, to me, the weather is, like, kind of perfect, to be honest. Like, you get your sunny summers, which aren't, extortionately hot. Like, they're still bearable. And then you get, like, to me, spring and autumn are just, like, the most beautiful seasons. Those are my favorite times of the year. And then winter really isn't that bad. And, like, I kind of like that aspect of, like, layering up, being able to wear like a blazer and an overcoat, or like even just like having a hoodie on and then like a big like puffer jacket and just feeling like warm and cozy. Like, I like that, and I'd say really, to me, the only times in London which are like kind of meh are like December and January. And I don't know, just work to a point where you don't have to be in where, if you don't want to be in your city during the winter months, you can just leave. And that's what I've done 3 years in a row. I was in Bali, Cape Town, I was in Bali and LA like 2 winters ago, and then I was in Cape Town last winter. Well, actually, I was in Bali and then like Mexico, you get the point. And then this year I'm going back to Cape Town again for 3 months during the winter. So like December, January, and February is even nice. Things are kind of going back to normal. is like, it's not bad. Like, I honestly don't mind winter here. It's just, you know, I wouldn't mind having, you know, because Cape Town at that point is their summer. So, yeah, just work to get to a point where you can just leave. And obviously that's the beauty of our businesses, is we can just get up and leave and go anywhere in the world that we want. So for me, my ideal lifestyle is London 9 months of the year and then Cape Town 3 months of the year. So yeah, I don't really ever see myself leaving London. The only time I could see myself leaving London is if things get ridiculous tax-wise. I don't know, people have told me all the time, you should go offshore, you should do this, you should do that. And like, I don't know, like maybe it's because I'm an outsider who's come to London. You know, both my parents are Russian, you know, so that's my origins. I don't consider myself Russian, and I actually don't consider myself British. I don't consider myself anything, but I definitely feel like an outsider in the city. I don't feel like this is my city. Well, actually, I feel like this is my city, but I don't feel British, if you know what I mean. So maybe it's just like maybe it's just the fact that, like, you know, I have benefited from taxpayer money when me and my mom were going through difficult times. My mom worked for the NHS, and it like kills me when people complain about the NHS. And like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I love this country so much, like whatever, I don't really mind paying the taxes here. And the taxes really aren't terrible. Like I think they're super reasonable, to be honest. It's just, that's kind of what happens once you get wealthy. You know, you just end up giving away net after everything between corporate tax and dividends. Yes, you end up giving away around like 50% of everything you make. Whatever. That's just how the world works. And then the name of the game is just be smart and just don't spend too much on your personal stuff. And if you do, have it for good reason. I mean, really the only money I spend personally is like where I live and my watches and clothes. And of those, to me, like where I live is like the most important thing ever. So I don't really care how much I spend on that. And I get to business deducted as home use, a good portion of it. My watches I actually make money on, even though it's a hobby, I make money. And the best part of that, because that's not a business, I'm actually just a hobbyist, that's all tax-free. Like I don't have to pay capital gains on that because I just happen to be a hobbyist who's made good decisions in his purchases. So as I said, don't need to pay any tax on that. And the only dumb thing that I do is like clothes, but whatever. That's like my one dumb expense where I look at it and I'm like, I have to pay through this through my personal account. And this is like not stuff that holds any value, but that's sort of the only dumb thing in my mind that I do. So getting back to the point, the only time that I could really see myself leaving London as my home base is if like the UK does something ridiculous with taxes. There is stuff that the UK does which pisses me off in terms of like real estate. It's really not favorable of landlords and real estate investing in the same way that the US is. I think the US is way more entrepreneurial, but just personally, I would never want to live in the US. Terrible to say because 78% of my audience I know statistically is from the US. Like, I don't know, like I just don't think, I like the European way of things. I guess I'll say it that way. Like I feel more drawn to Europe. And also just being in London, to me, London is the center of the world. Like geographically even. Okay. You know what I mean? Like from London, it's funny. It's even weird for Americans to come here and like kind of understand, like when you're in London, 3 hours you're in Mykonos, you know, within like an hour you're in Paris, within like 2.5 hours you're in Marbella, within 2 hours you're in Iceland, within like even going like from somewhere like London to Cape Town, yes, it's 10 hours, but like you've only gone plus 1 hour in terms of time zone, which is super valuable to me. And then from London you can go to LA and you can go to like Bali, and like to me, London literally is the center of the world. So yeah, I don't really ever see myself leaving London. I always joke about going to LA and like living in LA for a year or 2 years and getting like a coke addiction and like, you know, and then like being so jaded and then coming back to London. Like I always joke about that I'll do that in my mid 20s. But I don't know. Also the other thing is like to actually move to a different country, like, and you know, then start paying their taxes and stuff like it's just such a ordeal, such a nightmare. Like moving houses, you know, like with me from my old house, like I moved like 10 minutes down the road. Like that was already enough of an ordeal. Like I don't need to move countries and relocate. And plus, as I said, the benefit of the business that we do is like, it's so easy. Like if I really want to, I can just do, you know, half the year in London, 3 months in 3 months in Cape Town and 3 months in LA. Like if I really wanted to, you know, so I don't really feel tied down to London anyways. So, yeah, I think my plan for the next 5-10 years is just, you know, continue to build my life in London. And, you know, when I feel as though I need a little break from it or I need something else in my life, just, you know, leave whenever I want. So next question is, you've talked about your carnivore diet several times in order to combat your skin problems. How did you manage to get over your acne problems? Was it a specific diet, etc.? Besides, you can't see any scars. Did you use any products for that? Yeah, so from the age of like 16, it was super weird because I know a lot of people end up getting acne problems in the summer. I'm just sipping on my matcha latte. I think I told you guys, like I did like 4 weeks of no caffeine. It was incredible. And then now I've kind of like gone hooked on caffeine again. And then I actually started drinking coffee again. And only like 1 or 2 cups a day. But like caffeine is just so shit, like honestly, and especially coffee. Like I noticed such a big difference between even just drinking matcha compared to coffee, like night and day difference. So now I'm back on matcha, and then I think I'm gonna wean off it entirely and just get off caffeine again. But anyways, I basically used to have an issue where in between like April and September, literally my skin was perfect, like flawless. Yeah, I'd say between April and September, my skin was perfect, flawless, not a single issue, anything like that. And by the time the winter came, I used to have like really bad acne. And it was so annoying. And like, it was one of those things. And I really do feel bad for anyone with sort of skin problems, acne problems. Obviously, like I just came out of like, as most of you guys know, with the psoriasis, I was doing carnivore to clear psoriasis. And I don't know how well you guys can see that, but like, it's basically cleared. Well, I mean, no, it has cleared. It took me around 6 weeks, and like it's just scars now. So yeah, I know the difficulties of the skin problems, and as I said, it's so frustrating because like it's one of those things where like and yes, there are, look, at the end of the day, there are some caveats and there are some outliers, but look, at the end of the day, if you're not in great shape and you're slightly overweight, like I think everyone knows that there's a very clear outlined path, or maybe not very clear, but there's like, I don't know, you know in your heart of hearts that you can do something about it. But sometimes with skin problems, it feels like there is nothing you can do. Like you've just been cursed, and like it's just this hormonal thing. So as I said, what would happen to me is for 8 months a year, I would have perfect skin. And then for 4 months, I would have really bad acne, and mine was in the winter. So I think what it was is, in the winter, I would overproduce skin oil because my skin was dry. And once again, I tried everything under the sun, and none of it really worked. Now, what it is just like quite clearly, I'm someone who needs a lot of like vitamin D, and that makes sense. Like I come from like pretty much the Middle East, like in where I'm from in Dagestan in Russia, like in the winter it gets like negative 20 degrees, but in the summer it gets to 40 degrees. Like it's, everyone where I'm from is like olive color, if you know what I mean. So anyways, I remember that happened like winter of 2015, winter of 2016, winter of 2017, and then going into like 2018, and then eventually I was actually with one of my old clients, and they were like, look, I did Roaccutane, and one of my good friends is the best dermatologist in London, super fancy, Harley Street Clinic, this, that. So I ended up going to her. So I ended up doing Roaccutane, and I did it for like 2.5 months. And like, I know some people have like really bad side effects to it. I had nothing at all, just a regular, like you kind of get dry lips. And anyways, it pretty much cleared it within 2.5 months. And then it probably like from the point in which I started taking it to the point in which I literally had like picture perfect skin again, in the same way I did every single, for 8 months a year, once the sort of sun started coming up. It took me around 6 months. Now looking back, I regret taking Roaccutane because I know what I know now about skin, and this is what pisses me off so much about like dermatologists. It's like skin problems like acne, psoriasis, eczema, it has nothing to do with your skin.
What?
Okay, so if anyone on here, if anyone listening to this is having skin problems, it literally has nothing to do with your skin. Your skin is your biggest organ. And there's many ways that your body deals with like inflammation and excretes sort of toxins. Obviously, your liver is one of your biggest ways, but then your skin is one of your other biggest ways that it deals with inflammation. So I can guarantee for a fact that I would have been able to deal with it holistically. And now looking back at it, if I could redo things, I am convinced that either a carnivore or ketogenic diet could have cleared my skin entirely, like for a fact. Because also, look, that was acne, which is nowhere near as serious as psoriasis. Like, as I said, go to any doctor, they'll tell you psoriasis is with you for the rest of your life. Like, it's just you, there's nothing you can do about it. And, if I'd still listened to them, like, I haven't shown you guys photos, and I think I'll make like a long sort of form podcast about like holistic health and how I view holistic health and this and that. And, like, I'll show you, like, it was all over my body, all over my legs, my arms. Like, I even started getting on my scalp and stuff like that. It was nuts. And to watch your body, like, literally see these red, like, patches just start growing and, like, day by day. And then having not one doctor, one dermatologist, like multiple doctors as well go like, look, there's nothing you can do. This will be for the rest of your life. Like all you can do is like deal with the symptoms. Like it was nuts. It was a nuts experience. So yeah, if I could go back, I definitely would not have taken Roaccutane, just because I know you can deal with it naturally. Now the other thing is I did a lot of research, and from what I can tell, Roaccutane seems pretty safe to me. And as I said, I'm someone who refuses to take, like I don't take painkillers even. I just refuse to take any medication ever, full stop. Like I'm totally against it. Then again, I was also at a point where like I remember, like I was making YouTube videos and stuff like that back in 2018, and I was like, as I said, in the summer you could see my skin was perfect, for 6-7 months a year, my skin was perfect. And then by the time the winter came, like making YouTube videos while you have terrible skin, like it was rough, and even people were commenting like, oh, you have such a successful business, but you can't manage, like you have all this money and such a successful business and you can't figure out like how to fix your fucking skin. And as I said, that's why like sometimes I really feel for people with skin problems, because it feels so like it's just like in your mind you're like, what can I do? Because really there's no one gives you good suggestions. No one tells you like, look, you can clear this thing naturally. Like I've always in my mind been like, whatever happens to me, I can clear this thing naturally. But even with the skin stuff back like 2.5 years ago when I was going through it, even in my mind, it was like, no, I can't, because it's just a hormonal thing. So yeah, long story short, initially what I did to clear the acne or really just make it go away for, during those winter months, like just really solidify that it went away was Roaccutane. It's ridiculously effective. But then again, I also know that I have people on my team who have actually taken Roaccutane when they were younger. They did one round. It actually ended up coming back their acne, and then they had to refuse to do a second round. So I've just seen generally that it's very effective, and as I said, I'm super opposed to any sort of pharmaceutical stuff, but I also know the pain that people go through with skin problems. So I don't know, I'll leave it up to you. The only thing that I'll say is I don't regret taking it, but now going back, if I knew what I knew now then, I definitely wouldn't, because I just know for a fact that I could have cleared it naturally. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. As always, if you want to be in with winning some items from Gadzhi, at the moment we are sending out 2 masks to every single giveaway winner. I pulled them from the website. I don't sell them anymore. Obviously you guys know my views on masks and the efficacy of them. So obviously took a big financial hit and just I'm not selling them, but I wear my mask every single day. We just live in a world at the moment where there's certain scenarios where you don't really have a choice, or it's just not worth the hassle and effort of arguing. So yeah, as much as I hate the masks, I don't believe in them. They don't work. You still gotta wear them. Unfortunately, sometimes you still have to wear them. So if you're gonna wear them, you might as well look drippy. And for me, the main thing is I can actually breathe in these, which is definitely very, very useful. So go ahead and leave a comment. You'll be drawn in to win some pieces from the Gadzhi line. Ladies and gents, hope you all enjoy. I'll see you in the next one.